And that was Smooth Love by Joéllen. And I hope that you enjoyed that track because I actually have Joéllen sitting right in front of me, right here on Northbound.
What's up, guys?
I'm so happy to have you. So we want to talk a little bit about your newest single, Stay in Love. But before that, I want to talk a little bit about you, just because I feel like you're a little bit of a mystery. We were just, right? Yeah. We were just taking some content and some photos, and she was so cute. Joellen's like, I don't really take content that often. And I was like, yeah, girl, like I've been trying to do my research on you. So I'm so excited to have you here, just because I am a huge fan. For everybody who doesn't know, before Northbound, I was playlisting actually, and how I came across your music was, I think, just organically through other playlists. And I was like, oh shit, this girl, yeah. I was like, oh, this girl is fire. And then when I realized you were from Toronto, I was like, I have to pay attention to you.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about when you started singing. Has music always been a part of your life, etc.?
I started singing when I was around 5. That's when I realized I could sing. Mainly because I really loved Britney Spears.
Okay.
And I saw her, I think it was Baby One More Time, and I was like, yeah. And I was 5. I don't know. I was into that, and ever since Britney Spears, I wanted to sing. And then I grew up on Destiny's Child.
Oh my God, so did I. That was a really big influence for me.
Yeah, that was an amazing decade.
So were you one of those little girls that was always singing and dancing
exactly.
and choreographing things with your friends?
Yeah, I was imitating Britney, Beyonce, and then later on I started getting into Aaliyah, and that's where a lot of my inspiration comes from. And then I joined choir when I was about 12 or 13.
Okay.
And then I did.
And was this choir at the church or choir in school?
It was it wasn't necessarily we sang at the churches. That was where our
performances were.
Yeah, performances were, but it was outside of that. It was called the Oakville Children's Choir. I don't know if they're still around, but
okay, shout out to them.
Yeah, shout out to them. I did that for a couple of years, and then after that I was writing my whole life since I was around 10, was in choir, and then when I was about 21 I went to school for music. So
wow.
I did music performance and technology course at Metalworks.
Okay.
So
and where is that?
That's in Mississauga.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's just songwriting, production, engineering, I did all that. And now here I am.
And now you're here. I wanted to ask, so then you were singing from a really young age. Did songwriting happen simultaneously at the same time then? So you picked up songwriting young as well?
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
so interesting.
About I think when I was 8, I started doing poetry, just dabbling. Just nothing crazy, and then it just went from there.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about this latest track, because I've been bumping it. It's funny, I've had a few guests here and we've played your song, and they're like, what's this? I'm like, this is Joéllen. You need to follow her, you need to figure it out. But I want to know a little bit more about your inspirations. So I know you said a big inspiration for you was Aaliyah, and I was watching your music video. I think it's your first music video, and you have this scene where you're wearing glasses and you have a bandana, and I was like, oh shit, is that Aaliyah?
I'm glad you noticed that. That was actually, I think that was a part of our what's it called? Kind of when you have a lookbook. Yeah, exactly. That was actually a part of it. Was to give it an Aaliyah vibe, and just even with the baggy pants and the denim on denim,
exactly.
Yeah, big time.
And I love that you've gone this route of R&B. I know a lot of women will try to do R&B, and then I feel like it won't work out, and then they'll try to do something else. But I love that you're staying so true to yourself, and also your sound is very, very authentic.
Thank you.
I read somewhere that you write a lot in your bedroom, and a lot of your creation comes from there. And it's so interesting because I really almost feel like I'm in your bedroom when I'm listening to your songs. I'm like, oh shit, am I hearing secrets that I shouldn't be hearing?
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I'm going for. Yeah, because I write and record everything from home. It's been even, it's interesting because with quarantine and everything, I didn't really have to go anywhere because I was I've been doing this from home, so thank God.
Do you think that, it's interesting you say, you're writing everything from home. Do you think that you are an outgoing person, or would you say that you're more introverted?
I'm both.
Okay.
Yeah, it really all depends. I think I'm super, super outgoing once I meet you, and once I kind of scan you
feel
first.
Comfortable.
I'm comfortable. I'm obviously I was comfortable around you guys. But I am shy, I'd say.
But that doesn't come out, in your music at all.
Thanks.
And I wanted to know, is it easier to be vulnerable like in music than rather just, saying something out loud to everybody?
Absolutely, because when I write, there's really no filter as much. I feel like when I'm speaking to people, I overthink what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, when I'm writing, it's different because like that's my moment. That's my like 3 minutes and whatever seconds, or my 4 minutes, my 5 minutes to be able to say what I need to say.
So do you find like you are, I guess, introverted with your friends too? Because I know I'm the type of person who's very, very outgoing, but I'm very, I don't want to say secretive, but standoffish. Yeah, and, same. Like I put out this last song and I can definitely relate to you with vulnerability just because it's the first time I've ever shared real emotions. And, when your friends and family listen to your music, are they shocked by like emotions that you've maybe never said out loud? Or is it something that they're, I guess, not used to, but since you've been doing music for a couple of years, are used to?
Used to, yeah. It's a mixture. I think they just mostly don't expect that I say certain things. Like there's certain times I've like sworn and they're like, oh, or I'm being saucy and they're like, okay.
Like, okay, that's so funny.
But they don't they don't like get on me about that or anything. Yeah. But they'll be like, I heard your new song and like, I really liked it. And like, they don't really say much. Yeah, they kind of expect it at this point because I'm doing what I'm doing. But
that's great then.
Yeah.
So a little bit about this new song. Tell me about the inspiration about it and when did the development happen? How long have you been sleeping on this track? Because I know that you did a little sneak preview. I remember following you and I was like, oh, this sounds really good.
Oh, really? That was like time ago. I can't believe you remember that. Wow. So actually, truth be told, I was completely sick recording this. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it wasn't COVID. I had I think a flu, like a cold or something. Yeah. And I had a cold for like a couple of days. And I took some time to myself, like 2-3 days. And then I got a pack from Fonzie, the producer. And I heard this track. I was like, say word. So I started like immediately writing to it and recording to it. And it was kind of perfect because Stay in Love for me was a lot about, because I spent a lot of time in quarantine with my partner. So like that whole time I really got to, I feel like a lot of people in this quarantine, if you were, especially with a significant other, I feel like you really got to learn a lot about each other.
Definitely. Yeah.
So, and especially with how relationships are in this like millennium, I felt like it would be kind of nice to not only speak on my own experience, but like speak on the experience of probably like a lot of young 20 somethings of just like what it's like to stay in love. Like really, it requires a lot, but it's different because we can't really rely on like our parents' experiences. Like it's very different with the internet age.
It is.
And everything, especially nowadays with COVID and everything. You can't really meet people. You can't really, so it's like, how do you keep what you have going with like everything going on? That was the inspiration.
I love that. And, I didn't know that was the inspiration. And that is so much deeper than, what rises to the surface. And I think that's something about you that I haven't pinpointed, but you can definitely tell that you have a depth to you.
Thank you.
I want to hear this track right now because we have been, amping it up so much. So we're going to play Stay in Love right here on Northbound as we take a quick break. Dope. And we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. I'm here with Joéllen live in the studio. And that was Stay in Love by Joéllen. And we are back here on Northbound, back with our interview. So yeah, that is why that song has had all the bragging rights, really. And I've been bumping this track and putting all my friends to it. I really, really love it, honestly. Let's talk a little bit more about your, I guess, rise in Toronto. So you really came onto the scene in 2018. And before that, did you always, I guess you did know you wanted to make music because you were making music from when you were 5, but why just Spotify and all that? Were you making things underground for a bit on SoundCloud? What was your introductory and why did you want to just share your music with the world?
It started off, actually, I just dropped a couple tracks on SoundCloud and they weren't, I'll be honest, they're just like not up to like I deleted them.
Yeah. I feel you.
They're not that good. Like, trust me, like you don't want to find them. So I released a couple tracks that way and I wanted to hold off because I always knew I had it in me, but I was very realistic with myself. I kind of had to be like my own, like manager in a sense and be like, okay,
there's no one to give you that push.
I was like, this is just, this ain't it. Like whatever this is I had to be like in third person, like look at myself, look at my branding, my music. I'm like, hey, I clearly don't really know what's up. So I chose to study instead.
And what were you studying, if you don't mind me asking?
And that's when I studied the music.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's when I was doing like the performances, and then I was learning more about like production engineering and like studio stuff first. So that would help me with my recording process later on. And it taught me a lot, and I learned a lot about music theory. And yeah, I just really honed my craft during that period of time. And so it wasn't until like a year after that I dropped my place. But I wouldn't say like everyone has to go to school. I just specifically went to school for music because the studio process was way too overwhelming for me.
Yeah, that's so interesting. There's so many things that you're making my mind race. Sorry, just because there's so many things I want to touch on. But one thing that you said that's really interesting is about, honing your craft or homing your craft. Did that give you the confidence then? School really give you the background knowledge to be like, you know what, I can do it. Because I do find it's very hard for, new artists to just put music out there because there's no book on how to do something.
Yeah, exactly. And I learned all the ins and outs in that. I already came out of school knowing about licensing, already knowing what I needed to know for like a songwriter contract or like how to release music, how to actually get in the industry of like even film post-production. Like it gave me like such a knowledge on like a bunch of different topics that like once I was like, okay, well I'm just like a recording artist, that's what I want to be, it helped me so much because once I was in the studio I knew exactly what I wanted. Right, I was able to record myself, be able to communicate to producers what I wanted as well. And I did production too, so like it helped that way.
That's crazy. So are you still doing production to this day?
Well, I'm not really like, I don't really make beats like I used to. But you
have an input put on how it's going to sound. Yeah, for sure.
At this point, for the longest while, like, and even with like my past releases, it's been mostly like me working with beat makers. Like I'm not necessarily like going back and forth. Like it's mostly packs I'm getting, but I would like to, there's a couple people that I'm working with now that I'm like, we're like, okay, like let's do this with the hi-hats. Like let's do this with
I don't think people realize how hard that is. Well, for me, because I don't even know how to translate, what kind of beat that I want. So it's really, admirable that you're able to even communicate. And I understand why you went to school and why that made you, feel more comfortable. Back on the SoundCloud thing that we talked about. So you said that you deleted some of your songs or the old ones. So you can see a growth, obviously. And do you ever look back then at old music and cringe or?
Oh yeah.
But why is that? Is it just the level of talent or is it what you're actually writing about? Because there's a difference, right?
It was, I would say like I was always talented, but I think like when you're at a certain point, like you're always growing, right? Like you last year, you're probably better this year than you are last year.
For sure.
Hopefully like that's always the goal. Everyone's just trying to like better themselves. So I think what I released back then, like knowing what I know now and having the experience, I've been writing for several years at this point, I'm now finally able to just write and be completely comfortable with what I'm writing. And I mess with it, and I feel like it ages well. But back then it was a little bit different. I think that's like just the normal progression of an artist. Like you drop music and then you're kind of like, this is not me anymore. So it's a mixture of like, the lyrics and just even like the maturity.
For sure.
Because of the things you're talking about. Like
I definitely can relate to that because even me as a very new, I like to say baby scale artist, even some of the things I listen back on SoundCloud and I'm like cringing. And then, when I get those messages, like you've had so much growth, I want to be like, I know, but obviously I'll be like, thank you. But it's hard not to, look back and
you want to look back, but I have them in my arsenal because those ones, I'm not crazy about them.
So songwriting, has it been something that you've always done by yourself or are you open to writing with other people and are you even open to writing for other people as well?
For my tracks that are out so far, it was all just me. However, I'm really like trying to get in the studio with people now and I'm trying to collaborate because I feel like music's all about collaboration.
For sure.
And getting all kinds of different ideas because I feel like that's when you write usually your best, I think, is when other people have input as well. Even whether it's just like a producer or something like that, because you want to definitely get the vibe in the room. You don't want to just rely on yourself. But I mean, even if you are writing your own music, you do want to at least showcase it beforehand to get,
Exactly. Because sometimes, you're stuck in your head and you need that just opinion of someone like, does this sound good? Or do you think that this sounds a little bit better? And it's not even necessarily approval, but it's like, I want to say constructive criticism. Like
Exactly.
I work so much better when I'm picking someone else's brain and they're picking mine. That's just, you know, where the ideas flow.
Yeah.
With songwriting, is it something like, bring me through your process of songwriting. Is it something that you have to be like in a level-headed to do? Because I know some people, they really can't write when they're in a bad mood, or they can't write, you know, when they're not at home, or they can't write when people are around. So take me through your writing process. If you were to go home right now and write a song, how are you going to get into the mood to do that?
If I were to go home right now and get in the mood for songwriting, I would definitely light some sage, light some incense. I have to have all the lights in the room, like my sunset, like orange color. And I just play the beat out loud, and I'll like freestyle over it first, kind of get like the syllables down. And then after the syllables, that's when I start filling it in with words that kind of fit those syllables. And then usually, because I don't really pick my topics beforehand, because I know some people do.
Yeah.
Depends. Sometimes I will, just to give myself direction. But yeah, I'll just go with the flow, and whatever word that sticks out, because usually there's always like one word or something that sticks out, I'll run with it if I vibe with it.
Do you find like if you're picking a topic to write about, sometimes, you know, that can really create boundaries and barriers?
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly.
I wanted to ask, how do you get over writer's block? And is that something that you deal with? Because I know it's something I definitely deal with all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't release music for I released 2 tracks in 2020. Sorry, but I didn't release like a project or anything because I had writer's block. Like,
for sure.
What the hell? Like, we're all stuck inside. There's really not much going on. So it's like, holy, like you have to like relearn how to get inspiration, because sometimes like
that's so true. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're dinging all these bells, but it's so interesting. Like if we're living inside of our house, what am I going to write about?
What am I going to write about?
Blank wall that I'm staring at all the time?
Exactly.
Like,
and I was in my room, like the sunset orange can only do so much.
For
like
sure.
after a while, I'm like, hey, I need to like see something different, right? So yeah.
I heard a quote that I love to bring up. I'm so corny sometimes. But James
I love that.
Flantroy, which is like this big writer, he wrote like No Air by Chris Brown and Jordan Sparks.
Love that.
Right? Great song.
Love that.
But he said that writer's block is like a feeling of you're too preoccupied with what other people are going to hear, which I thought was really interesting, because I right? That's definitely something that I can relate to. And, you know, I put out this really, really vulnerable song, and now just yesterday I, you know, sat down with a bunch of beats that I have, and I was trying to write, and I couldn't think of anything, just because I was like, I was thinking, oh, what are other people going to hear me say?
That's the worst.
Which is horrible.
Yeah.
And how do you get over that? If you were to give, I was going to say give the listeners advice out there, but I'm really asking for the advice myself.
Yeah. I would say, and I know this goes contrary to like, it depends, because I feel like there's just sometimes you just need to not write. And I know it goes contrary to what everyone's telling you. Like we live in a society where everything is just so go, go, go.
I love that. Take a break.
Like when it comes to creative works, like it's not transactional. Like we really have to like delve deep into our own selves to be able to even create something that's like 4 minutes. And I don't think we give ourselves that time sometimes to just live, to be able to have the content to write about, because really that's what comes first. Like
for sure, life experiences as well, right?
Yeah, you come first. Actually, the music and everything, that's after the fact, because you have to like live to create, right?
You know, do you ever feel pressure to constantly be pumping out new music?
Yeah. Every day.
Yeah.
All the time. But
and how do you not, you know, feel that breaking point? Because, you know, you said you had that break, and what was that break like? Like, how did you feel? How was your well-being? Because I know it's really hard sometimes as, you know, an emerging artist to see all of your friends or the community constantly put out new music, and you feel a little left out, you know?
You do. And I felt that. I still feel that to some degree. Like, I'm not going to lie. I feel like artists should stop sugarcoating it. Like, let's just be real. Yeah. It's tough for everybody. And like, I had to just at some point just put blinders on. I'm like, okay, I have to look at the bigger picture. Okay, I'm not like, I don't have a new track every month. Like, say, like if I'm referencing like last year, I don't have a new track every month, but am I getting better as an artist? And am I working on my stuff? And I know when, you know, I do come out with a body of work, it's going to be exactly what I wanted because I took the time.
Exactly.
Then, you know what, so be it. Like, I'm just going to take my time and just put my blinders on because, yeah, that's the only way you can really, like, do what you need to do.
Yeah.
Right?
For everybody listening, I'm hiding a smirk right now because my next question was going to be, I was going to be like, oh yeah, there's cameras, but I wanted to be like, so what's your next project? But yeah, is there anything that we can, you know, see from you this year or anything that you just want to do? It doesn't necessarily even have to be music wise, because I feel like being, you know, locked up during quarantine, we're finding so many different outlets to be expressive. Like right now I'm being expressive. I never thought that I would sit here with other artists and talk, but I've been having such a great time just because it's putting me in a position to have conversations I would have never had before. So yeah, is there any new music coming out or any ventures or anything? Like, what are you doing in your spare time right now?
Well, right now I'm just trying to work on my mind, body, and spirit.
Okay.
Trying to stay sane.
Yes.
So trying to exercise more, eat better, you know, just trying to like slow down because I'm kind of forced to. So just trying to accept that. Definitely writing a lot. I am working on a project. I don't have anything like super set in stone as far as dates, but I am working on one and I'm just trying to make it, you know, the best project that I can make.
Exactly. No, but I definitely think that you should still ride out the success of, you know, Stay in Love because I love it. It's so good. Can we look forward to, I don't know, a visual for it maybe?
Of course.
Because that first music video that you did, I was like, oh, like I was really, first of all, very impressed with like the quality, but it was so interesting. The song was called My Place, right? So for anybody who doesn't know this music video, it is basically about Joéllen's point of view as like the other woman. Don't make that face because it's a great song, right? But you never hear about, you know, the woman speaking about her side or her, you know, her from her point of view as the other woman. You always hear it from the man. But I loved the visual where you did the split of the screen and you had your perspective and then you had the perspective of, I guess, the main chick. And that was so interesting. And your visuals, like I said, were very on point, even with that Aaliyah inspo. So yeah, can we expect something for that? Because I would love to see a music video.
Yeah, for sure. Just like, as long as it's easy for me to get in studios, because that's the only thing, like we're extending this lockdown. If you didn't know it, now you know. So 8 weeks starting Monday. It is what it is.
You heard it right here on Northbound from Joéllen and Ajuki. We are bringing you all the latest news.
CP24.
Well, I am so happy that you've stopped by. We're definitely going to keep bumping that track. And, you know, I think that this interview definitely made me a bigger fan that I am of you. And I think that you just, I don't want to say, I always, people come in here and I give them like unsolicited advice, but definitely share that more because you are a fucking sparkle in the sky, whatever the expression is. I don't know what they are, metaphors.
Everyone in this room.
Yes. And
we're following regulations.
Exactly. Okay. So make sure you follow Joéllen on Spotify, on Apple Music. Give them your handle, which is just, is it official, Joéllen?
Joéllen official.
Okay. Yeah. Watch you.
Yeah.
And
on everything.
Yes, on everything. And, you know, also, I wanted to speak really quickly. Do you think that you're an emotional person or not emotional person? Do you think you're a vulnerable person because it has to do with your sign, which is a Pisces?
How do you know?
Because I'm creepy.
Wait, what are you?
I'm an Aries.
You're an Aries. Okay. I think yes. And also I follow my chart.
True.
So I'm a Cancer moon and I'm a Sagittarius rising. So like,
so you're spicy.
I'm very, So that's what I was saying about, like, am I introvert, extrovert? I can't tell because like I'm a Sag, like for people, I'm a Pisces, but then like at home, I'm a Cancer, like on my ones.
For sure.
Like I'm very emotional and very
So basically empathetic, what Joéllen is saying is that you will get the best of all worlds from her. And honestly, tune into her music because it's really fucking good. Your voice is incredible. I am a fan. We are going to keep bumping that shit here on Northbound. And to end our interview, I'm going to play My Place, which is the music video we were just talking about. And I just want to thank you again so much.
Thank you. Nice talking.
Yes.
I just kissed this mic.
Kiss it. I mean, it's okay.
I don't know how many people.
It has some nice lip gloss. You smell good. No complaints over here. Don't go anywhere after Northbound. You're going to listen to a next show right here on Northbound. But thank you all so much. And tune in next week. We have new guests. And this is My Place by Joéllen. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, guys.